The top stories: tourism pinning hopes on LIAT move, recall provision for MPs urged, and Gayle stuns Zimbabwe. Welcome to Nation News for Tuesday, February the 24th, 2015.
No matter where you are in the world, at home or abroad, Nation News keeps you connected with what's happening in Barbados through our website, video newscast, and online e-papers. So stay connected with Nation News. News, your time, your way.
One of the factors that dragged down Barbados' tourism performance last year was a decline in visitors from the Caribbean. Now, officials speaking at a news conference say they are hoping that LIAT's decision to move its main hub to Barbados will bring real benefits.
We believe and hope that with Barbados' position and LIAT being positioned here, that can be used to our strength as a Caribbean territory and also stretch us into the Southern Caribbean in terms of our explorations for more regional travel. I think it is pretty well documented that where LIAT has been housed, that there have been additional benefits which can be derived, and having them in Barbados, we believe that can be part of the way forward working with LIAT.
Officials reported that Barbados recorded a 2.2% increase in visitor arrivals last year, due largely to strong economic recovery and improved consumer confidence, mostly in traditional markets. BTMI CEO Billy Griffith said the agency would work on maintaining that improved performance.
We are very cognizant that 1 or 2 great months is not the panacea. The battle for growth and sustainability for visitor arrivals will not be won solely by winter performances. It will require greater effort and more targeted activity in the summer and fall months. In addition to a proposed new destination website by the end of this fiscal year, I am also pleased to announce, as our organization evolves, the appointment of a new director of marketing effective March 2nd, 2015, which is next week, Monday. We want to acknowledge today the presence of Mr. Robert Chase, a young man who has had an extensive background working in e-marketing.
An opposition member of parliament wants MPs to be subject to recall if they are guilty of improper behavior. In a recall election, voters can remove an elected official from office through a direct vote before his term has ended. MP for St. James North, Edmund Hinkson, raised the idea of a recall provision on Sunday night in an address to a BLP public meeting, though he gave no details of how it should work. The late Barbadian academic Sir Roy Marshall has been praised for his scholarship and advocacy for the rights of black people in Britain. Sir Wilfred Wood, the first black bishop of the Church of England, eulogized Sir Roy at a funeral service at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Sir Wilfred described his late friend as an academic giant and said Barbadians were not fully aware of the foresight, experience and scholarship of Sir Roy, a former vice president of UWI and the University of Hull in England. The cathedral's Monsignor Vincent Blackett suggested that UWI work to keep Sir Roy's memory alive.
My prayer is that maybe the university could take up, how it would want to continue the memory of persons such as Sir Roy and the contribution that he has made. Yes, we know that there are buildings and so on established in his name, but we need more than that to remind us of this giant, this colossus who's lived among us.
Prime Minister Frandl Stewart, Opposition Leader Mia Mottley, and Chief Justice Sir Marston Gibson were among prominent figures in attendance at the funeral. Sir Roy, who died 3 weeks ago at the age of 94, will have a private cremation at a later date. A new book on Caribbean tourism has been launched here by 3 academics. Contemporary Caribbean Tourism, Concepts and Cases is the title of the 650-page book by Drs. Sherma Roberts, Michelle Best and Akola Cameron. Dr. Cameron said the region's contribution to global tourism had been left out of many tourism texts, and the authors felt it was time to correct this imbalance. One of this country's oldest citizens has just turned 105. Former master saddler Melville Williams of Lonesome Hill, St. Peter, celebrated his birthday at the weekend, surrounded by family and friends. The centenarian shared stories of working at estates in northern Barbados and at racetracks in Trinidad and New York. He spoke of his love of brandy, which he says is good for the nerves. We go back now to Saturday when the local guiding community commemorated World Thinking Day. Scores of Girl Guides, Brownies and Blossoms assembled in Independence Square, then paraded through Bridgetown to the Girl Guides Association's headquarters at Pax Hill. Thinking Day is meant for guides to think about their sisters around the world, the meaning of guiding, and its global impact. Next is Geraldine Edward with the weekly commentary.
There is no reason why judges and magistrates should engage in a public spat over who has the right to grant or rescind bail. What the members of the public want is a judicial system that functions effectively, and this calls for cooperation. Members of the police force, the prosecution, defense, and judges all need to be on the same page. All of this has to be spearheaded by the Chief Justice. When will we see the backlog of cases cleared? Some people have been waiting for decades for their cases to be adjudicated. Meanwhile, businesses fail, families fall apart, houses fall into ruin, and people languish in prison. Some have even died waiting for their cases to be heard. Stop the bickering and get on with the people's business.
In sport, Chris Gayle revealed he has been battling chronic back issues after a record-setting double hundred as West Indies beat Zimbabwe in the Cricket World Cup. Gayle says the injury can't seem to be solved and means he cannot go to the gym as often as he would like to. But he put aside his physical troubles to give a masterclass in hitting to pile up 215, the first World Cup double century, and combined with century maker Marlon Samuels in the highest stand ever in any ODI, 372, which also happened to be the West Indies total, their highest ever. For the record, West Indies won by 73 runs. Let's hear from the man who is the toast of the cricket world.
A slow start, we lost Dwayne Smith early, and then, Marlon came in with only two deliveries actually bowled. And, you asked me what was happening out there, but I couldn't give much information. All I said was that the bowler got him out, kept a bit low. But, eventually, we know we had to attack because we didn't want to put ourselves under tremendous pressure. But that was my game plan, to be honest with you, to try and push them back as early as possible. Eventually it worked, and then in the middle period, then you can pick up things a bit further, and then you can pick and choose which bowler you want to actually take your chances off more, and then eventually work out in the end there.
For full match details and all of the records, head to our website, nationnews.com. Next up, the National Stadium for Knapsack, the primary school's track and field games taking place this week. The start involved the Obadele Thompson zone on Monday when the girls from St. James Primary won the first ever title, while St. Catherine's took the top honours among the boys. And finally, a police dog in Florida is being kicked off the force after biting a donut shop worker and an officer in separate incidents. Officials say the 4-year-old Renzo had been with the Cotonou Creek Police Department for more than a year. The Belgian Malinois bit an officer in November while tracking a suspect. Last week, he burst out of a patrol car and bit a Dunkin' Donuts worker in the calf. And so he must go. And that's Nation News for Tuesday. For more, log on to nationnews.com, as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And remember to pick up your Midweek Nation on Wednesday or subscribe to our e-paper.